Good morning and welcome to Missoula Real Estate Today. This is Denny Bedard. Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Diane's been working with buyers and sellers in the Missoula market for over 25 years and shares her insights on the local housing market. Along with her trusted partners, Diane provides complete service for your real estate transaction and brings us guests who provide useful information on industry-related topics and trends. And now, Missoula Real Estate Today on News Talk, KGVO. Thank you, as always, for being a part of Missoula Real Estate Today every weekend here on News Talk KGVO. A return guest, although I think we figured out it's been about a year and a half since Martin's had time to come in and visit. Martin Bell with Blue Jay Estate Sales with us on the show. Welcome back.
Hey, thank you for having me, sir. I'm happy to be back. I got a little busy. We were supposed to meet, but the nature of the real estate business has sped up, and then my empire, so to speak, has expanded regionally, and I've been a busy guy.
All right. Well, congratulations on having an empire. I think that's a good thing to have. Since it's been a while, just a little getting reacquainted here, Martin. What is Blue Jay Estate Sales, and what services do you offer?
Well, Blue Jay Estate Sales is an estate liquidation service. That is 99 times out of 100, we are asked by clients or realtors or attorneys to liquidate the personal contents of a home or property to sell the items to prepare the home for resale. Generally, we sell the stuff to the general public who comes to the property, and we take care of that part. And then if we have clients who need services after that, we can reference them for clean outs.
And what are there specific qualifications you had to have, or not necessarily required by law or anything like that, but specific qualifications you felt that were in your background that were really beneficial to take on a project like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think my luck comes with maybe just some bizarre skill sets. I enjoyed design. I had a good memory, and my background was actually in the people business. Even though we're in the stuff business, so to speak, liquidating contents, I was kind of a people person, and so I would say being a people person, having an interest in objects and items, and knowing how to manage large groups of people, which is also in my background and my family background. Those were kind of all the things that kind of triangulated to making this thing go.
Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate on News Talk KGVO. Our guest, Martin Bell with Blue Jay Estate Sales. And explain, Martin, what an estate sale is and how that differs from an auction or, a general garage, yard, or warehouse type sale, that kind of thing.
Sure. An estate liquidation sale is basically we come in and we turn the client's home into a store. That is, the items have a price tag. We have set open times for the public to come in and shop. The benefit I try to make there, and there's no wrong way to liquidate contents. Sometimes an auction is a great way to do things. One is not necessarily better than the other. But what we do is we go and we price the items. The clients, we generally run a sale at night after work on a weeknight for a couple hours. Mm-hmm. So the largest amount of the phone book can come to the sale. Right. And we run it the next day. And from 9 to noon, usually. Big sales will add a third day. But fortunately, Blue Jay we have the number one thing we bring is we have enough people. And we can usually be very successful for our clients in a one day project, which keeps our footprint in their life very, very small. But their house is now a store. The people come shopping, and that's what we do. For vehicles or items of high value, we will do a sealed bid so that we keep that market open for a large, something that has a lot of value. We don't put a cap on it for the client.
So with the possible exception of something like a vehicle, then everything is pre-priced, correct? This is not a bidding war or a silent auction where you write down your bid, etc. You have taken a lot of time to make sure things are priced accordingly.
Oh, correct. Items basically have a price tag. Small items won't. If the spatula, the dish soap. And that's my elevator pitch is we sell everything from the dish soap to the Mercedes-Benz, which I have done.
Very good.
We price things correctly to encourage folks to buy a lot of stuff. It's not a retail store where we tell the first 7 buyers no, and then I sober up and tell the 8th buyer yes. We're there to sell it.
And What describe the process? Somebody contacts you and they want to do an estate sale, and a little bit later in the show, we'll get to some of the reasons why people would do that. And of course, some of those reasons are sad and heart-wrenching, but what happens from there? Somebody contacts you and says, Mr. Bell, it's time for us to do an estate sale. Where do we go from there?
Sure. Once, basically the short story is I get a phone call. 80% of what we do is reference-based. I would go look at the property. I look at quantity, quality, complexity. Those are the three metrics. And I kind of need to see it in person so that I don't say anything untoward or incorrect. Once I see those three metrics, share the client with the client my viewpoint of what I think I can and can't do. They go, hey, Marty, you're our guy. From there, I do photographs, contract, get things on our website, bluejayestatesales.com,
Right.
do all the marketing, hard copy newspapers, digital newspapers, normal social media outlets. We take care of all of that on about a 1 to 2 week marketing cycle is about all you need. They would then come in on sale day. The thing I really push is our footprint is very light in the client's life. They sometimes have a lot of grief, or they're very busy human beings, and this is something they do outside the normal scope of their life. So we come in, we price the items generally same day. I have a great team, and we try to have a very light footprint. We price 2 or 3 hours before the sale. We run the sale. The next day, we run for 3 hours. I run home. I get the clients paid so that our footprint in the larger process of exchanging real estate or closing out an estate is very minimal. I want to be out of the way but be useful.
And of course, it's going to depend on how many items are involved, but what is the typical setup and preparation time that goes into a sale? What all do you have to do on that end?
Sure. We've got this down pretty tight. Just speaking on a general purpose, everyday, normal, what you and I live with kind of sale, we can generally price out a sale in about 2 or 3 hours with the team. And we do that right before we open the sale. We usually run sales in the winter 4 to 6 due to daylight on the first night.
Sure.
In spring and summer, we push it to 6 to 8 to make sure more folks can get off work. So I would say 2 to 3 hours of pricing the first day is when we are there on the property. 2 hours of a sale time, and that really is the magic that first night. And then 3 hours the next day. So basically, we run about a 5 or 6 hour sale over a 2-day period, and run home and get the folks paid same day, so they're not chasing money or waiting for money.
When you advertise an estate sale coming up, you mentioned your social media outlets and other marketing that you do, which is great. That obviously is a big benefit to your client, to your customer. How detailed is that? Do you have every single item listed or pictured? Is it priced? What if I were to look up a Blue Jay estate sale, upcoming estate, what would I see on one of your ads?
What we do is on the newspaper ads, we highlight, of course, times and address, and the newspapers and the social media, we highlight the general, some of the highlights, some of the special items, or try to make the keywords to give them a feel of what that particular property is. Yeah. But once you go to the website, bluejayestatesales.com, then it's a little bit more intensive. What we have learned is I give them just a few keywords to give them the idea of the sale, but the photos are everything. The photographs are worth 1,000 words, like
Sure.
they say. So we don't advertise the prices on the website, but what I have learned, a few keywords, and then a fairly exhaustive photograph set. That's the photographs. The buyers have told me the photographs are everything, and we listen to that. So I would say we're photography driven in terms of what people need to see in order to determine if that's the right sale for them to come to buy stuff at.
Do you see a lot of regulars at estate sales?
We do. Some folks show up at every sale.
Yeah.
Some folks show up only on a certain kind of sale. We might not see them for 4 months unless we have that flavor again. What we noticed in the past 2 years, when we watched this, just a lot of new buyers have started to come to the sale. And I don't know if this is a good time to talk about this now, if we do this later, but People are fascinated to have a Montana experience. Once, and this is thinking about the buyers that share with me the experience. They love the sale, the energy of the sale. It's a very connecting thing. Everybody can get together and have a Montana. It's like an old time auction from the 60s or even a basketball high school game. It's everybody can get together, and they tell me how excited they are. But sometimes you see the regulars. Sometimes you see them only if it's a certain kind of sale, i.e., a tool sale or a cowboy sale or high and mid-century sale. But a lot of new folks have come, and I don't know if this new economy. Well, it's been a really good 2 years, honestly. But people are looking for something to do, and maybe be frugal. I don't know.
Well, and one of the reasons I asked that question, just kind of for the fun of it, is because you're certainly not a yard sale or a rummage sale or a garage sale. This is a different deal than that. But there are a lot of folks that just bargain hunters maybe, but there are just folks that like to come to sales like that. I mean, it's just kind of, I'm sure it's a hobby for a lot of people, and they just they just get a kick, an adrenaline rush out of attending a sale like that.
And I think you nailed it. And there are folks who come. It's a hobby. It's an event. It's something.
Yeah.
It is a thing to do in and of itself. Some folks come to buy to resell. Some folks wait and they see that photo of that thing they needed, and they're going to come to that sale, and then not again for 4 months. And it has a buzz. It's greater than some of its parts in terms of the buyers that come, and that's critical in any business, whether you're selling hamburgers or liquidating contents. It has to be greater than the sum of its. It has to be an event that has more value than just that thing that you bought. It has to be an experience, and I that's critical for me to make sure when the buyers come, it's organized, it's busy, and hectic, but that's good. That means there are lots of people there. So I want it to be an enjoyable Montana event, as well as a service for the people that I am working for.
Do you think current supply chains enter in at all? By golly, we want to buy a new armoire, let's say. Oh, man, I don't want to wait 9 months for it, but might have to. Blue Jay Estate Sales, has something. Okay, let's go have a look at what Blue Jay Estate Sales has on their current estate sale.
You were right. We did see some, as they call that, downward pressure in the Business 101. We saw sometimes early on some supply chain conversations happened. We had some very high-end furniture, and the people that came to the sale bought it at a Blue Jay sale. And traditionally, these are folks that would go and purchase it new or had the wherewithal. And that wanted to go have a retail experience. So we did see some supply chain issues with some of our furniture. We've had a few automobiles that we've sold that have come up with that. So we have seen some supply chain pressures out there help Blue Jay. Not quite as much lately. So yeah, that was out there. And of course, the endless toilet paper jokes when this thing first started. Right. So yeah.
Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. My guest this week, Martin Bell, who operates Blue Jay Estate Sales. And I want to say thank you to some of Diane's marketing partners that help bring you the show every week on News Talk KGVO. Miles Link with Opportunity Bank of Montana, Rob Fleming at Man Mortgage, and Carol Blodgett from MakeItMissoula.com. Getting back to Martin Bell here with Blue Jay Estate Sales. And Martin, I briefly brought this up about 10 minutes ago. I'm guessing these sales are oftentimes conducted because they have to be, rather than because your customers want to. There's been a death in the family, financial hardship, what have you. You have to be able to offer reassurance that your customer's estate will be handled with the utmost respect, right? That one-on-one relationship is that's got to be very, very important in your business.
Yeah, that's like I touched on earlier, the people part, and we've kind of spoke about that through the lens of my relationship to the buyers. But in terms of the people I serve, that's really the most important thing. I'm not a cookie cutter franchise. I'm not a part-time antique dealer with a side hustle in a mall somewhere. My job is to serve the clients and the phone calls, and I think that's why 80% of my business is reference. About half of the people I serve, a little more, have lost somebody. The other half was just a real estate transaction. But it's always bittersweet at the very least, and at the very worst. There's some heavy duty emotions, and again, my background and that human part, I've kind of brought into the stuff business, and just to take I actually care about what I do and the people I serve, which is awesome. It's not just a dollar turn and away we go. I actually get to do some good sometimes.
Yeah.
Folks come from, so often family members live here, but the people I serve live far away. They have to have trust that some guy in Montana is going to do as he says. And I take that personal. I want them to be, it's not just about making the money. I want these people to be happy when we're done. We want to be liked after anything we do.
Sure.
And it's like, oh man, I hope you can do everything that I talked about in the initial walkthrough. So yeah, sometimes you do a lot of serendipitous good above and beyond, hey, I sold your tractor.
Right. Well, since we are doing a real estate show presented by Diane Beck at Windermere Real Estate, what is your relationship with the Beck team and realtors in general? Where do you two intersect?
Well, Diane was so kind early on as we begin to get the ball rolling outside of the Bitter Valley where I'm located. I do about 55% Ravalli County, 35 Missoula, maybe 50-40 in the rest around Western Montana. But Diane gave me a shot up here on a project, really nice project. We did good for Diane's expectations, her clients' expectations, and I've worked for her other gal there too. And so they gave me a shot up here, and we made it good. And she has given me references. I don't want to let Diane down. And the other realtors, and the list of realtors that I've served, as well as attorneys, are on my website, bluejayestatesales.com. All my CV.
Yeah.
And lots of realtors. I mean, just tons of realtors. Work with new realtors every year. A lot of repeat realtors. They know that I'm a service that they can reference their clients and not worry about it and be done. And there you go. I'm happy to be part of Diane's larger project here.
I think you did a great job of making that clear. But just to be even more clear, everybody understands there does not have to be a realtor involved in a transaction. I mean, you work with people in all walks of life.
Right. Realtors show up about 40% of the, I'd say about half the time there's a realtor either involved or going to be involved, but not all the time. I enter these projects a lot through an attorney or word of mouth Montana. Joe knows Sally, and Marty did a good job for Bob, who knows Sally. But no, I don't need to have a realtor involved. I'm happy to be part of that real estate process or the probate or that process too. But a lot of times people are just say, "Hey, Marty, we sold our house." That realtor thing's done, and they're like, "Marty, sell us stuff so we can get on to our next adventure." And I can do that too.
How much input do your customers have on the pricing you're going to determine? I'm thinking as we're talking here, this has got to be kind of a sensitive issue at times, practical as possible. But what do you mean you're going to sell that sectional for this price? It's easily worth this price. And now here comes the back and forth. You have to respect it, but you're a pro at this. You've been doing this, 13 years, and so. But I'm sure that your customers do have some input on that.
Yeah, this is the conversation. I have a good friend in the auction business, and this is the question that puts both he and I in therapy.
Yeah.
Because we want to do a good job, but we do this every day. And so we often get lots of input from clients. And the first thing I do is I roll over, so to speak. I say, hey, if it's important to you, I want you to keep it. That way I won't sell a really nice item at a price that you're not happy with. I don't want to offend anybody. I don't disagree with my clients that price could be obtained eventually, but we have a 2-day window, and that's kind of what I focus on. I don't wish to be Mr. Smarty Pants. I want them to anything they're worried about, I will help them find another venue if they want for that item, or I'll say, hey, you keep it. I'm only there to sell what needs to be sold. And I don't wish to make anybody unhappy by
Sure.
giving it away. And if they're worried about that, I'm on their side. I understand.
And one size does not fit all. You offer a variety of ways to conduct an estate sale. Can you talk a little more about the options available?
Sure. And kind of touching on what we just talked about there, 99% of the time, it's economical for the client to do the sale on site. That way you're not incurring moving costs, et cetera, et cetera. We can sell things at a third-party site, but the client has to pay for the move, just like any auction company would pay for the labor and time and all that. I can pay for the third-party rental site. That way they're not incurring that cost. I'm happy to get that skin in the game. And but generally, most items are priced. Sometimes we get sales that are a tad cluttered, let's call it that. And there's literally, it's not economical to sort and stage. And sometimes those treasure hunt sales, it's, the client, we'll destack and declutter for safety. But a lot of times we get, I don't want to use the word hoarder sale. That's kind of a rough word. But sometimes these sales can get pretty full over time. Mm-hmm. And the buyers will come in, and after we sort out for safety, they'll bring out their piles, and I'll call the pile right there in the yard. But sometimes virtually every item is priced just like a high-end store. And so we kind of call each sale as we see it. Does it need to be, priced down to the, everything at $5, or do we just kind of wing it? Every sale's different. And right. So when I do a walkthrough, I can't do medicine over the phone. I need to see the project first so I don't say anything that is incorrect for the client.
Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Our guest, Martin Bell, who operates Blue Jay Estate Sales, does a lot of work in the Bitterroot Valley, a lot of work in the Missoula Valley. And you haven't been on in about a year and a half, and I know that we've tried to get you a couple. You have just been very, very busy, so congratulations to you. Busy is good, but at the same time, you do want people to know that you are able to offer a pretty fast turnaround if somebody wants to hire you to do an estate sale.
That's one thing I work a lot on, is keeping our timeline tight for our clients. I want to stay out of their hair, because usually there's lots of other bigger machinery moving here, probate, real estate, interstate moves, sometimes international moves. Yeah. My job is to work hard and be invisible. And so in terms of a turnaround time, I've never had to say no to a sale. As we get into high season, we do quite a few double sales. And we'll do one sale, let's say in the Valley on a Wednesday, Thursday, and then come up here and work on a Friday, Saturday, completely different buying groups. And so last year we did double sales for months on end. And we did one triple and one quadruple week this year. But there's enough of a buying public out there. You don't run into saturation issues. I work very hard to try to mix and match the cities and mix and match the estates, so you're not selling the same thing over and over again. But turnaround time, honestly, I can turn a sale around the next week. It's a 7-day turnaround. The marketing, you don't really need a 30-day marketing arm for these sales. I'm so grateful to have such a huge buying base. They are looking for these sales all the time. Yeah. So our turnaround time, I've got projects now in the books for this summer, but a lot of times people call me in a crisis, or all of a sudden the real estate sold. So turnaround time is a non-issue. Don't even worry about that.
Good.
I can make it happen.
And I'm sure you have some stories to tell. What are some of the more interesting or unique collections of items for which you've conducted estate sales?
The two quick stories that come to mind. Did a project upstairs in kind of a rough house, and they said, "Hey, downstairs our dad's train collection was there, and it was dark. It was in boxes, and it was a bit disorganized." But the clients ended up having a vintage train sale that was so big, we pulled it out of the house to a third-party location and had people from 3 states come to buy specialty toy trains.
Oh, my gosh.
And they just said, "Hey, Dad's trains are in a box." That was our lead. But he had a lot of it. And, all of a sudden we had a 3-state specialty toy and train sale.
Wow.
we had a situation one time where the family kind of went back and forth over the years of an estate, and the estate was a very large horse and farm and ranch estate, and everything had been stored up in the hayloft. You know, the horse barn was worth 10 times the price of my house. It was a really nice place, yeah, but it was all thrown up in the barn, and they asked, and they said, hey, if you can find Dad's ashes, let us know. They had forgot where they had stored. So now this became like my mission. Mm-hmm. And it was dark up there. It's a hay barn.
Yeah.
A huge hayloft, and there was no power in there. But we went through everything, loaded stuff out. It took hours to load it out of the hay barn. I'm like, I can't find this. I'm just beside myself. I look up in the giant beams and rafters, and about 15 feet up in this corner was a coffee can, like a big metal can. So I scrambled up there, and they had put the urn inside of a larger metal. So he could oversee his estate. Oh. And I found that sucker with about 15 minutes to go before we loaded out of there. So that was cool to find that. I found wedding cake toppers that people have been looking for years. Found a couple wedding rings. Those little serendipitous moments are cool.
Man. Yeah. Incredible. That's incredible. Yeah. Martin Bell with Blue Jay Estate Sales here on Missoula Real Estate Today on News Talk KGVO. Martin, how is pricing set for your services?
Here's the truth. We price to sell. I do tend to qualify my clients right away that this is a 2-day liquidation. And this goes back to what we talked about earlier. Yep. There's no doubt that there are better prices out there in some other market. If you want to take the time to achieve that better value, which all that time usually offsets against that better price, and you're usually upside down. I know because I do this for a living. But we price it so that it is an understandable price point for the local populace in a 2-day period. Within that, and if the clients can understand that, we're A-okay. And usually they need it sold. If they, again, are worried about it, I tell them to keep it. But it's priced to sell, and that's why we have people busting through the door to come to the sales. This is not a high-end antique store experience, retail experience. Last week, it's goodwill. That is, last week, Marty's prices were correct. It was fun. It was fast. And the buyers will come this week. I've provided a ready-made clientele by not overpricing this sale. This is what happens. A lot of folks I'll meet a client, and people like me in my industry sometimes can say, hey, I'm going to promise you the sun and the moon and the stars with these magical prices, knowing that it won't happen. And then in the back end, you blame the buyers, or it was too sunny, nobody showed up, or it wasn't sunny enough. I'm in the business of reality, and I don't want to make anybody mad. And actually, managing buyer expectation or seller expectation is critical. So we price it to sell. If we do hit on some nice items that are greater than what the local market can bear, I'm going to give 2 shout outs here to quote unquote competitors who aren't, but they're good people. If we get real high in collectible items, I will refer them to Davis Brothers Auctions here in Missoula. Okay. They have a great product knowledge and technology platform knowledge. They sell around the world. Those are special items, say rugs or antique pottery or something like that. Firearms, I referenced to Rick Peverly, RLP Auctions in the Bitterroot. Great human beings. So I horse trade. That way I don't fall on my face by selling something that I know darn well could do better somewhere else. I just want my clients to be happy.
Good stuff. Got to wrap it up here. If people want to know more about Blue Jay Estate Sales, how do they go about doing that?
406-363-1600 is my number, or www.bluejayestatesales.com. Happy to come out and just kind of give you my free 2 cents worth on your product.
Beautiful. Martin Bell of Blue Jay Estate Sales. Thanks for coming on the show again, and continued success.
Thank you, Diane Beck.
Thank you for listening to Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Email dianebeck@windermere.com, or for a complete directory of Diane's listings, visit move2missoula.com. That's move2missoula.com. We'll see you next time on Missoula Real Estate Today.